a lot of blood was shed, a lot of tears were shed, standoffs, and a lot of paperwork went through in order for us, our religion, actually not our religion, our spirituality to be respected within the system.
Did you reach out to that spirituality when you were incarcerated?
In the distance, my mother was standing there with an eagle feather, waiting for me to come home.
If there's one quality that stands out the most that you've developed after coming out about being the new you, what do you think that is?
Well, I'm gonna have to really be honest with you on that. That's I'm just being me. I'm just being me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to be anything that I'm not. I'm not trying to be anything that I know I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just being me. I'm being genuine about it. Even just being here with this interview, I'm being me. I'm not out here to have notoriety. I'm out here to just do an interview for the youth, for other individuals that may be going through what I've gone through, maybe have a similar, background of what I had to go through.
Yeah.
And that, if I can do it, they can do it. If there's a way, there is a way out.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you, the individual, that has to make the time and make the effort. As I was told once, I think what it really is being dedicated.
You have to be dedicated to this new life that you're taking. Well, actually, I don't even say new life. You're being you. But now you have to move on with that judgment that's laid upon you and just kind of say, that was the old me. That was one that was fumbling, making mistakes.
Yes.
I was young and dumb. You've matured. You've experienced.
Mm-hmm.
Compared to what you told about your friends and close ones that you're incarcerated or a statistic and no longer with us. Why do you think you're here?
That's the question I ask myself every day.
Yeah. I mean,
that's just because I have a very heavy, very strong background in spirituality.
Yeah.
And there's not a day that goes by that I talk about it. There's not a day that goes by that I've seen something that connects to why I'm still here.
Did you reach out to that spirituality when you were incarcerated?
Spirituality in a sense is a very different background compared to religion, and most people would be thinking religion right now.
Yeah.
And religion right now, that's a whole different ballpark I will not touch base on.
Sure.
It's a very sensitive subject, but my spirituality, yes, I did. I really reached out to it in a sense of various, spiritual ceremonies.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, while I was incarcerated, I participated in a lot of sweat lodge ceremonies with a lot of brothers from all walks of life, all the way as far as the Dakotas, and all the way as far as the Montanas, and as far as down south as the Yaquis. And those were a lot of the brothers that I was incarcerated with over the years. And we all shared and valued a systematic value of, we all have one creator. We all have to pray to him each and every day. And when I started to reach out, I started to make that connection. In order to establish my sobriety, I had to have a connection with my higher power in order for that to work.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of, the program that I instilled within my life, and I've just been moving forth with it. I've slipped, I've fell, I've tucked and rolled a few times.
Yeah.
I ain't no saint, I'll be honest on that. Because as of recent, I had 2 violations, and I've gone back twice. But within those times, I have dusted myself off and kept pursuing the goal of where I want to be in life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I can continue to is just stay focused on that. And I can only say to others that are watching this is that, continue to, have that heavy spirituality that you have, and continue to let it grow and continue to let it get stronger. Because when those times when we slip up, that spirituality is going to be there. That's what's going to lift you up. That's what's going to motivate you. That's what's going to make you see the light at the end of the tunnel, as they say. It's going to keep you moving forward to that.
The region that you were in was here, and I know that even correctional facilities have, they'll have sweat lodges, if not even teepees there, but I really don't know details of that. Was it something they allowed you to do like once a week or whenever you needed, or was it scheduled, or?
Well, with what the facility, with what the, actually, just put it like this. There was those before us that went through the BOP system.
What's the BOP?
And that's the Bureau of Prisons.
Okay.
And that's the Federal Bureau of Prisons. And
Okay.
During the time when a lot of our indigenous brothers had gone through the system, a lot of them had a lot of time, and considering that the way they had structured it is that a lot of these reservations house a lot of violent offenders.
Mm-hmm.
And reason being is because they got a length of time.
Mm-hmm.
So through that time, a lot of these brothers, they found ways of addressing our needs, meaning a lot of blood was shed, a lot of tears were shed, a lot of standoffs, and a lot of paperwork went through in order for us as Native American brothers to have our religion, actually not our religion, our spirituality to be respected within the system.
Mm.
And
Do you know how long ago that was established?
that had taken way before my time.
Mm-hmm.
From my understanding, it was way before my time. I'm 43 years old. And for that to happen, as I mentioned, there was a lot of drastic measures were met with the system in order for our needs to be addressed, as far as our sage to be given, our tobacco to be given, our sweat grounds to be properly built on the grounds, our rocks to be brought in by volunteers that were religious volunteers to the Native Americans within the Bureau of Prisons, and all the way to having our eagle feathers allowed to be given to us, as well as hawk feathers. And those were some of the things that a lot of our brothers fought for in order for our needs to be addressed. And in a nutshell of sense, as a Native American man and as a Native American inmate, we are the smallest population in the world, even now today. We only make up probably that 10% of the population in the Federal Bureau of Prisons. And it was good to have seen that our needs were addressed accordingly, and that we were, acknowledged respectfully.
Mm-hmm. Was it somewhat a relief to run into other Native brothers who took you in, or did it take to at least help you find a spirituality and be a part of a community that was already built in to be there spiritually, as far as like going towards one direction?
Well, it's just like I had mentioned earlier. The way the system is designed, and I'll call out the system on this, it is designed by race, because the reason being it's designed by race is they have the upper hand. Meaning if they can't control you, they would rather have all races fight among one another.
Let's go step into
in order for them to be at their mercy, at their means. So,
and that's because also the prison system is privately owned.
Well, actually, Uncle Sam.
Well, I mean, it's privately owned, as
Yeah.
in the owners are there, but
Mm-hmm.
the government pays for
Yes. Mm-hmm.
those incarcerated to stay there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there's two types of prison. There's private prison, and then there's federal prison.
Mm-hmm.
Private prison, that's a whole different entity. Federal prison is a whole different area,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where you're going to be doing your time compared to a private prison. That's just like doing county. That's just like doing tribal time.
Yeah.
But when you get into the big house, that's a whole different story. That's run initially by the federal government itself. They have a warden. They have all federal staff. They're all federally employed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And then back to your question, we kind of lost track there.
yeah,
But,
of course. Yeah, no worries.
So with that sense, when I first got there, I was greeted by other Native American brothers that took me in,
Mm-hmm.
and they gave me a clear sense of where I needed to be and the choices that I had a choice in where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
Meaning I had a choice of being a knucklehead or minding my business and just do my time, or being one of them ones to mess around with all the other negative sides of things that are in prison.
So, what exactly is a knucklehead?
That just pertains to, some things I can say and can't say. Making all the wrong choices, making all the wrong decisions.
So, just literally being a knucklehead.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm on to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, with that point of direction, it took me time to really figure out where I wanted to be. And through that, I associated myself with other older Native American brothers that had some wisdom, that had some knowledge.
Yeah.
And that told me, this is where you should be.
Mm-hmm.
This is how you should do things. And this is the best way to do time. And with that, I took that and I applied that within myself. And that's what brought me home.
And you didn't. So, I think you originally said you were supposed to do 10 as a max. They gave you
10.
6.
Yep.
And you got out.
Mm-hmm.
So, what was the feeling like when you first stepped out?
Well, man, I was scared. And let's put it like this. My sister had asked me a question. She was in her emotional stage, and she was crying, and she was asking me, didn't you ever feel the feeling that you were gone that long? And I says, no. I said, in my mind, I thought I was only gone for a year.
Yeah.
Because through that process, I had to let go of my family. I had to let go of a lot of things. And that's nothing personal to them. It wasn't personal to anyone. It was the only way I was going to be able to do time.
Because you didn't want them? This is my assumption. Is it because you felt like you didn't want to drag them down with you as well, too? Or
Oh, no.
what was your decision on that?
My decision on that was I had reached out to my mother before, or actually after my sentencing day.
Mm-hmm.
And we sat down in the visitation and we were talking, and I reached out to my mother and I says, Mom, I need you to be there for me. I said, I can't do it without your support, without anybody else's support.
Yeah.
And my mother agreed to be there for me. So she's the only one that stepped up and was there for me throughout the 6 years, that rode with me throughout the 6 years. And I can acknowledge 8 other individuals that were there for me.
Mm-hmm.
But over time, 3 fell off, meaning 3 stopped communicating with me.
Mm-hmm.
And then the others, they kept communicating with me. And those of them that communicated with me were individuals that I still hold close to this day. I still hold them close to my heart.
Yeah.
And they mean a lot to me. And they know who they are. And Reason being is because there's times when we talk about, when I came home. And when I came home, it was very hard for me to adjust to, because things changed, people changed, people have gone. This is right in the middle of the height of COVID too. I had gotten out.
Oh, wow.
So it served its own little way for me to reintegrate into society, because everything was all locked down and shut down. So when I got out,
it's like the world kind of got quiet as you stepped back into it.
Yeah. And with that being said, I didn't get out on any good time.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't granted that. I had lost all that over the years.
Yeah.
And so the day that they had set for me was June 6th. Is the day I got out, 2020, 9:30 a.m. And I can honestly share this on an emotional point, is that my family was standing right there outside waiting at on the other side of the highway for me. In the distance, my mother was standing there with an eagle feather, waiting for me to come home. And they were trying to tell my mother to get back in the vehicle. But my mother didn't listen to them. She stood there until I walked clear across the highway. She came to me with open arms, and as most of us Dene people believe in, you brush your relatives down, you brush off all that bad. That's what my mother stood there for, with an eagle feather. She brushed me off, fanned me down, and gave me a big hug. Said, "Welcome home, son." And that was the most meaningful thing, to have from my support system, coming from her. The strength that she had, the endurance that she had to have to be there for me through all that time. And coming back through, of course, like I said, was very scary. It's a whole new world today, and I'm still a little institutionalized, but I'm working through all that. I'm gonna be honest with you on that, and I ain't gonna sugarcoat it. My relationship with my children at the time when I got into this lifestyle, it was a lot of irresponsibilities. I failed at every way possible. Sometimes there's times when I just ask them, like, "Hey, Dad, am I on the right track? Am I doing the right thing?" I'm gonna get my name back. And when I get my name back, I'm gonna feel more empowered.